Okay, Wanita, I'd like to shift gears a little bit. I'd like to touch on a topic that came up with you in a conversation that we had a few weeks ago. And we were just kind of talking about our careers and how we, where we were and just different things that were coming up. And we were even touching on some DEI kind of initiatives and those kind of things. And I remember, I'm talking about diversity, inclusion, some things that we're trying to accomplish. And you were emphasizing how critical it was to focus on equity.
Yeah.
And I just remember in that conversation, it just kind of struck me, like what you were saying and how, like, admittedly, I hadn't really done that. Like, and it was almost embarrassing. Like, God, I'm trying to focus on this. I want to be a part of the change. I want to help, but I am missing something. So for me, even with this show, like I'm trying to expose people to opportunity, help them see themselves in the people that we bring in on the show, help bring more people into this business line so we can have a more wide range of thought that going into the problem solving, but yet I am not talking about equity. So with that, I just want to kind of maybe, if you could, just kind of tell us a little bit about what equity means to you and what you've seen in your career and certain things that you might have tried to address as you've come across these issues with equity.
Yeah. So, a lot of people get equity and equality kind of mixed up, right? Equity is more about, I saw a picture the other day that showed 3 people trying to look over a fence, right? And all different heights. And so equality was to give everybody the same box. Equity was give them a box based on how tall they are so they can all ultimately see over the fence and watch this baseball game, right? So there's a difference between equity and equality, and how uncomfortable but how important it is for people to understand that we do not all start from the same place.
Absolutely.
And because we don't start from the same place, there are groups and individuals who have fewer opportunities, which means when they're further along in their career, that kind of just continues to build on it, right? And they have fewer and fewer opportunities than the person sitting next to them. And it's easy to think, oh, well, we all have the same, we all ended up here, we all had the same opportunity. But usually there was somebody along the way that kind of helped build that additional box so that you could see over that fence and understand, hey, you got a late start. Let me help push you up a little bit. And so I think that's one of the things that's important for people to understand. There's a difference between equity and equality. And then as individuals who have had the opportunity, have had those individuals kind of lift us up and help us get us to where we are. And it takes a lot of hard work. Obviously, I'm not, I did everything I need to do to get to this position today, but there are people along the way that gave me certain opportunities that maybe other people wouldn't have. And whether it was conscious or unconscious, that opportunity they gave me allowed me to continue to grow, because I did start a little bit further out than some of my peers, further behind, right? We grew up very, we didn't really see ourselves as poor because that wasn't my parents, that's not how their mindset worked, but we didn't have a lot. We didn't have a lot growing up, and we kind of had to just make our own way and pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. And, I'm thankful that all 9 of us found a different way to do that, right? It's just amazing. And a lot of that had to do with our parents kind of building those initial building blocks.
Kudos to those parents. Those parents did a great job.
You. My mom's the reason I know I can do anything. She was a plumber, an electrician. She was a mechanic. She was a seamstress. She did everything. There was nothing she couldn't do. So I'm not allowed to say can't. She's like, just go figure it out and do it. But there's other individuals along the way that have an advantage in a position, and they see that, and they see you have potential, and they help kind of lift you up and get you there, right? And so the equity, when we talk about the youth and giving them an opportunity, that's where, when I started, because I have the privilege of participating in DEI here at SWBC, and when I started, I thought, I do not want this to be lip service. It needs to be real. Equity was one of the things that really stuck with me, understanding my own story and how I got to where I was. And so what's something actionable we could do to actually help create a little bit more equity? So I know I talked to you a little bit about what Janet Lorio, another EVP of our division, is working on. She, what her and I are working on right now is working through a district here in San Antonio, and we're going to participate in their work program. That's pretty common for companies to do, but we're going to take it a step further and really try to immerse them in the SWBC culture so they can see marketing, they can see accounting, they can see, the mailroom, they can see the call center work, they can see product and training and all these different. It takes a lot to make a company run, right?
Exactly.
And exposing them to all those things, understanding they haven't been exposed to it yet. And hopefully if we get them in their sophomore, junior year, they're able to see, oh, there's opportunity for me. Like, look at these individuals, and kind of help paint that picture and help push them along, because that is part of again, equity is not starting from the same place and just not even knowing what's out there and what's available. That's one piece, right? The other piece, I think, as leaders, is it's important for us, and it doesn't matter what level you're leading at. If you think about equity too big, it can be overwhelming, right? So I always say, just impact what you can, like change what you can. If you have a small team, one of the things that I'll do, the first thing I do when I take on a new group is look at the group and say, okay, where's everybody at? How are they performing? What does their pay look like? I'm a big proponent of not on my watch, right? So if I inherit something that I feel like there's a disparity in pay or something along those lines, I will work to correct that actively, right? Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get that person all the way through, but I will proactively do that, feeling like it's my responsibility to really understand that these individuals could have been impacted by their progression in their career, and how can I help them, right? You see somebody thriving and they're a big part of the team, but their pay is not there, then you ask yourself why, and then you do what you need to do to kind of fix it. And there's multiple things that impact it, right? You know, a lot of people think about race or gender, but there's also socioeconomic that impacts the equity of an individual, right, and their ability to kind of progress their career. And so I try to look at it broad and just make sure I'm doing what I can to affect change at my level, right? And I've done that at every single leadership level I've been in. So that's one of the things I think as leaders, we should be more proactive. It's uncomfortable, but it's the right thing to do. And I think another important part is not to assume the person you inherited from intentionally did it, right? Sometimes things are subconscious, or they inherited and they just didn't have the foresight to do the same thing, right? But once you see it and once you do it, then you feel like, okay, that's part of my responsibility as a leader to help bring those individuals up, make sure I'm championing them, understand there's certain people in that group, they may not have had the same advantages, and maybe they need a little bit more of my help to push and progress their career on.
Absolutely. I remember when you were kind of telling me some of that stuff. And like I said, it was almost embarrassing because like you, I've been here for a while. I've inherited groups, and my teams have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And every time there's a new challenge. Like every time you do it, you're trying to streamline, you're trying to cut costs, you're trying to figure out, there was a reason why that came to you, right? And every time I've done that, yes, I'm trying to find the people who need to be promoted. Yes, I want to find those talented folks that I don't feel like we're showing our appreciation the way we should, because I need those people to stay with us. I need them to help us improve. I need to put them in a new position where they can lead improvement. But never, I hate to admit that, never did I just really look at that position by position and try to figure out if there was some equity issue. It was more of, are you being paid, what I think you should be paid in terms of your value, but it was never, okay, let's start from scratch and see where do they actually sit today, and is that even right? Right, is that even right? And I don't know, after talking to you, it definitely gave me an opportunity to kind of put that information and that message into my team and to say, let's make sure that we're doing this right. Let's take a look at everything, and in addition to the promotions and the merit increases and all the different things that you're doing going into the new year, let's take a moment and just kind of look at, where people really are and if that's where they should be and if things are equitable. So I want to thank you for that. Again, I know when you came into your new position, I was one of those people you would say, hey, you got any advice for me? And all I had was, go do you. You're great at this. Do your thing. Be confident. Do you. But I want to thank you for giving me that information, because it's definitely something I took to my team and looked for as we were reviewing the numbers to see if there was something that we could do to make it a little bit more equitable. So thank you for that. Hey, thank you guys for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. More videos are on the way.